Right to a channel of light fluid. We now return to part 2 of the current episode of Far Beyond the World. I guess our royal errand boys trudged all this way up here for nothing. I'm sorry, I have to say I'm quite surprised to see such a curious gathering casually discussing matters of state. The mage blurts out in discomfort, drawing surprised gazes near the guests. I thought you said you were at court. I was, but at court the courtiers rarely participate in statecraft. Would you look at that? You rarely discuss delicate matters when they have a rat in their midst. That's a little bit uncouth. Lady Riss smiles, not at all minding the wording despite her weak protest. But true. The Jarl flashes his brows teasingly. Caelan often complains that within the palace walls even the shrubs have ears. That he does. You mean His Imperial Majesty the Sorcerer King? Cain interrupts her rather harsh and disapproving tone. I mean Caelan, the Sorcerer King, yes. The Jarl responds indifferently, much to the White Tiger's annoyance. That's a very informal language. You do realize this man has fought beside His Majesty? Lord Magistrate doesn't hide his shock at Cain's rebuttal. He's one of his closest friends, in fact. I realise that, but certain for. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't believe I caught your name. Lord Garaki finally raises his finger, as if he was signalling a waiter. I think if you heard it well enough, good lord, it has been introduced already. Yes, try not to pay you any mind. Then you persisted in speaking such an ill-mannered fashion. I thought it only polite to ask. Well then, for your convenience, I shall repeat it. My name is Cain Snowpaw. Snowpaw. Lord Garaki reclines back in his chair, patting his chin and having a quick think. Your name doesn't tell me anything, which means your presence here is nothing more than petty theatrics. He finally sighs, unamused by his own conclusion. Excuse me. We have our matters well in paw. As far as I am aware, we didn't ask for assistance, have we? He poses a question to our host, and the old tiger shakes his head. Oh, not at all. So your sudden arrival, as surprising as it rightfully is, falls slightly flat when it comes to your uninspiring person. I'm not sure I follow. I don't know who you are, and as I know everyone who matters, you can do the math. Since we didn't ask for an Imperial errand boy, I fail to see how any emergency could warrant someone as, forgive my frankness here, inconsequential. My lord, I assure you I'm anything but inconsequential. Cain responds sternly, while Rannoch and I exchange confused gazes. There's a lot of tension in this room, and surprisingly none of it is directed at us. The threat we face to the stability of our realm is real and significant, and it's posed from within. I'm here to ensure smooth and uneventful governance, in which I fail to understand how a lowly banker participates. You mages are astounding. I take it as a compliment. Take it as you will. Garaki scoffs dismissively, dipping lips in his goblet. The capital does not want a repetition of what happened last time we meddled in Wolven affairs. The foreign policy of the Sorcerer King is strict and clearly outlined, and yet I find this wolf at your very table. The mage twinkles his fingers in Rannoch's direction, much to our joint surprise, but it doesn't take long for the magistrate to come to our defence. Is there something wrong with wolves? He poses a jaded question. Plenty of them live in our city. But this one doesn't. Let us not pretend as if he's not a foreigner. My word, the audacity of this one is beyond imagining. Lady Riss covers her muzzle in shock, but quickly gets up to her feet. Need I remind you, I've travelled here all the way from Hog Bay. I'm originally from Khanate of Sunda. You, dear lord, are Bengari or Amuri? I'm sorry, I get those two mixed up. She addresses Lord Graki, and the banker smiles. An excellent ear, dear lady. My family comes from Bengaron. And you, your excellency, are not Tigeri, but Tigonari, are you not? She continues to address our hostess from around. Lakelands? That is so. He nods, drawing a smirk from the female's muzzle. She joins her hands at her waist in triumph. I have a gift for those things. Spend enough time in the capital, you'll learn all sorts of accents. The only native for this table is our kind Lord Mayor, beating his wife hails from the southern bank. You're correct. And you yourself, judging both by fur and tongue, are clearly from Amuron. She points to the mage with barely hidden disgust. So do not wave your greasy little finger around this room, point out who's foreign, who's not. We're all children of Averland here. Hear. Perhaps I misspoke. Oh, there is no doubt about that. The female shakes her head. The jiggling jewellery seems to add an emphasis as she takes back her seat. I only meant that receiving diplomats from other states infringes on foreign policy. That's not foreign policy if it's just simple commerce. Lord Graki interjects in annoyance, leaning onto the table and looking right at Rannoch. You all came to us for trade rights, plain and simple. Forgive me for repeating myself, but I fail to see what business someone who does not hold any official position in the government could have in this debate. Dear light, is this brash lad going to be like that the entire evening? Lady Riss sighs, rubbing her temple and signaling to the servants to refill her goblet. I'm sorry, Lady Riss, for dragging the conversation down. I didn't expect it to take such a turn. Oh, not at all. She sighs after a mouthful, slowly sinking back into a seat. I do enjoy a verbal spar, especially when I myself have been tapped out and spared the hassle. Forgive me, I think it's best for all of us to mind our respective fields and leave the matters of governance to me and Lord Magistrate. You can enjoy this banquet without interfering with imperial policy. There's no stopping him. The female splays her paws in defeat. It's like watching a runaway cart. My dear boy, do not delude yourself with the silly notions of titles and honours. I am a person far removed from that petty world of yours. You didn't answer my question. Because I don't answer to you, boy. My family's run the Imperial Treasury, so in fact you are on my payroll. I wouldn't see it that way. The mage remains defiant, and I, just like the rest of the guests, observe this exchange in silence. I knew you wouldn't. And chalk up your lack of manners and ignorance to both youth and inexperience, which in and of itself tells me this visit of yours is nothing but a farce cooked up by Mo. You mean the Grand Arcanist? I know whom I mean, child. Madeira sent you here ill-prepared. She tries to prove herself to not be just that, ill-prepared for that ridiculously mismatched role she was suddenly thrust into. The Grand Arcanist is more than capable. Oh, please, she's barely 35. Lord Graki interrupted him with a mocking scoff. It's hardly an age of maturity for any self-respecting magistrate, let alone an Arcanist. Isn't she the youngest one in history? Exactly my point. He nods. The child sending other children into the fray. Must we always suffer ignorance at the behest of another new fad sweeping through the court?
Enough of that. Let us not degrade imperial officials and question royal appointments. Not in my presence, at least. The Grand Arcanist is beyond reproach. She's second only to the Sorcerer King himself.
Lord Magistrate finally raises up, drawing our collective attention.
Lord Caelan might be crass and an unwelcome development, but he's my guest nonetheless. Let's not make him feel out of place more than is necessary.
Yes, you wish, Your Excellency.
As for you, boy, as yet you'll learn your place. You might be a prize pet at the capital, but here it will be us who decide how to tend to our affairs.
he states sternly, barely containing a growl. If you have any complaints, you can keep them to yourself and pen a letter to your superiors, and they can deal with mine. I assure you, do not fear Tygon, because he has my confidence, just as I have his. I wasn't made a magistrate because my turn came about. I've earned this title by diligence and hard work, and retained it for a quarter of a century because I choose my advisors well. Nothing you can say to the Sorcerer King could ever become my undoing, because I, above all else, am competent. So, if you're looking for a scandal to uncover to further advance your career, I'll have to dash those hopes. If I were you, I'd worry more about my own failings. I'm not here to chastise or scrutinize you, Your Excellency. I'm merely here to ensure peace. You told us they were about to raise an army and march into that damned forest. His voice raises ever so slightly, causing the mage to wince. So let me say this plain and simple with our wolven friend bearing witness. There is nothing in this world that could force me to march into those woods. Do you hear me? As long as the wolves keep to themselves, so shall we. If it's war you're worried about, I said you keep an eye on Gul'diran, not your own people. Gul'diran? Yeah, let's be done with this matter, for it'll spoil our appetites further. Hear, hear. Lady Riss slow claps while still holding a chalice. I'd say we leave this dreary conversation and enjoy the evening. We're making the other guests feel left out. She bops her chalice towards the human company and the magistrate nods. Agreed. Oh, not at all. Do continue. Find it all quite interesting. Not to mention, it's very educational for Finn. Yeah, don't mind me either. Chronicle pages are plenty. We're filled with gatherings such as these. It's nice to relive them for a change. Huh. A chronicle's what I fear. It's enough I have an official narc in my midst. I don't need to add you lot to the list. Besides, as the Collegium wisdom goes, never leave anything in writing. As cheered as always, friend. I follow the same principle, thus I never bothered with reading or writing. On a serious note, anything discussed in these halls shall remain within them. Isn't that right, Master Caelan? My quill shall remain inanimate. Good. We don't want to break it now, would we? Damn, he's so smooth, even when threatening. The way he keeps fussing over the youth makes my mind wonder. Their relation seems quite close and intimate. I have to admit, it does get me slightly flushed. He keeps embracing and caressing the boy, who for some reason seems flustered by those open advances. They're definitely banging. Or perhaps it's the vodka talking. I shake off my head in embarrassment. The conversation shifts to local gossip and I decide to relax. Through all this time of idle nibbling whatever haven't been within my reach, I've gotten quite full. Full and lethargic. I think I'm going to suffer from a food coma if I keep this up. There's yet one morsel on the table I haven't tried. The small donut balls drizzled with honey and speckled with roasted sesame and pistachios are worth the effort. I extend my hand and pick up two, slowly placing them one by one into my mouth. They're delicious. I've gorged myself like a pig on so many wonderful foods. Piglet indeed. Even Rannoch seems satisfied, judging by his constantly moving muzzle and a slowly swaying tail. But then I notice Portia, the ever-scurrying servant, give a meaningful nod to her master. The magistrate gets up and claps his paws, rubbing them merrily. Well then, let us have some music, some more wine and spirit to lift ours well into midnight. Hey. The gathered reply, as I notice the scoring little cat enter the chamber. It's the bard from the inn. The final guest of the evening has finally arrived. The magistrate displays his arms and bids the cat to join us. I've shamelessly used my position to snatch him from the stranded bard. It would have been silly of me if I hadn't had the famous Felinian minstrels at our table. I know of you. You wrote so many lovely ballads. One of the reasons why I bothered to learn another language. I feel that Tigeri translations don't do your work justice. You're very kind, your ladyship. The cat bows deeply, swooshing his hat in front of him. And Lord Graki, allow me to extend my deepest gratitude for your patronage. Without it, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to travel here. It was always my dream to perform at the Bard, but it was never within my means. Do not mention him. It's our pleasure to have you among our midst. Oh, so you do some of your money other than collecting it. Admirable. I found always support the arts. The stranded bards are pride and joy. The tiger replies in a dry tone, clearly done with the jabs from the female. Your Excellency, I hope you'll forgive my boldness, but I've taken upon myself to invite one more person to this gathering.
Only nice is unexpected, but not entirely unheard of. Who is your +1?
Dame Kiri. She has just arrived at the bard when I was leaving. Lady Wrist chokes on a drink. By the light! You're not having us on the Dame Kiri? Indeed. The bard nods, causing the magistrate to wave his paws energetically.
Well, in that case, forget my pardon, accept my thanks instead for bringing such an exalted singer to my home.
I heard she performed to the Sorcerer King Caelan's death anniversary. She brought the man to tears.
Seems a bit macabre.
Not at all. I'll explain later, dearest. Oh, what joy. I hope it won't be rude of us to expect just a small performance.
She nods her chalice in the bard's direction. He shakes his head.
I'm sure she'll be delighted to. In fact, on our way here, we discussed a possible recital. Well then, where is she?
The other female looks around in confusion. We all begin to seek her out.
She's waiting at the gate.
The bard responds in a somewhat troubled tone, fiddling with his fingers.
What on earth for? I'm afraid she wasn't admitted in. The guard said she's not on the list. I can't believe my ears.
Lady Wrist's fur pales by at least a few shades.
The world-famous singer's made to stand at the door like a common salesperson.
Portia, go now and fetch Dame Kiri. Extend all the possible apologies I come with a way to compensate her this indignation.
The doe bobs obediently and rushes out of the hall, allowing the magistrate to release an exasperated sigh.
Honestly, the guards are all muscle with but half a brain between them. They're just doing their job, Father. An announced guest should fall under scrutiny.
The armour-clad tiger throws in between idle chews some dried meats, and the magistrate sneers.
But to have a dame halted at the door? When do you think the guards have the time to visit audience at the theatre? I've no idea who she is, or what does it really matter?
Goodness me! Lady Wrist pats her chest in clear shock and disapproval.
Oh, be silent, you fool. It's the truth.
Arathan insists.
Our job is simple yet demanding, so is our entertainment. Feel more at home than broken Caelan than the bard. Please don't say such things. What will the guests think?
Yes, he's a fine young man with a mind of his own. The bard smiles encouragingly, nodding towards the young tiger. I, too, find that visiting the rougher establishments can be an enlightening affair.
You're scandalous one. Broken Keg is not a place for good-natured citizens.
It's the brothel of the Caelan Gate, isn't it?
Now would you know?
Lord Graki winks cheekily, and the female blushes. I might be a simple housewife, dear Caius. I'm also a worldly tigress.
Oh, so once learn lay of the land. Never travel anywhere that learn of its finest brothels. I know it's on good authority the Broken Gang's the best one this side of the Serpentine.
My word!
Please don't call it a brothel. It's a public house with a bad reputation. Public houses and brothels are synonymous for a reason, mister.
Goodness me, really? What in Avalon are we even talking about? Lady Wrist massages her temples nervously. And to think you're about to bring a dame into our midst.
I've no interest in singers. That's all I'm saying. I said be silent, you fool.
The magistrate snarls angrily, noticing Portia appear in the door with a slender feline in tow. Dame Kiri turns out to be a snow leopard with a pale greyish fur. She wears a magnificent bejewelled pearl-white gown speckled with sequins and gems.
Ah, there you are.
The magistrate spreads his arms.
My deepest apologies, Dame Kiri, for this regretful situation.
Oh, it's quite all right, Your Excellency. It's not the first time I'm invited to a gathering at the last moment. She smiles kindly. It's quite a relief for the gathered.
I hope you'll forgive us, but I'm afraid we have started without you.
Well, that's perfect, actually, as Willem and I have suppered at the inn. Besides, I'm not too keen on heavy meals. I'm just glad to be here. At least try some of the nibbling bits. Lady Wrist gestures towards the table. We'd feel poor company if you left us without eating anything at all. Very well then, I think I should be fine with some scrumptious-looking canapes and wine.
Portia, wine for Dame Kiri.
The magistrate commands, while the new guests take the last two remaining seats. The bar next to his wife and Dame Kiri beside Lady Wrist. It's such a pleasure to have your refined person to lift my rather dullard crowd.
Yeah, I'm sorry if my company for it's inadequate, Lady Wrist.
The Jarl jests, signaling for his cup to be refilled. No, not at all, darling. But you are no artist. None of us are, unless you'd insist on count blood-spilling, money-grabbing and being born right in art.
If only indeed.
Lord Graki murmurs, taking a begrudging sip at yet another veiled jab.
Where did you travel far?
Daglan sees the opportunity to focus the conversation back on the dame. Oh, not at all. It was a short hop from a coaching station between here and Tigeron.
You travel in your own coach or the company's?
Lord Graki asked to the horror of Lady Wrist, who throws her hands into the air. Perish the thought! Last time I used the maiden carriage and nearly broke a hip on one of the bumps, and no one should travel in those dilapidated wagons. As it happens, the Sorcerer King was kind enough to arrange for the Imperial coach to carry me.
That's quite an honour. I'm sure it caused quite a stir at the bard.
The magistrate chuckles. The bard quickly seizes the moment to spin their tales with a melodic twang. Oh, indeed. People lined up the entire square thinking it was a member of the royal family visiting. I must have proven such a disappointment. Lepidus says with genuine embarrassment.
Oh, nonsense. What overall's good for anyway?
Lord Mayor poses playfully.
One table less than already overcrowded in, while with you they had a true celebrity on stage.
Indeed. Even how gracious His Majesty to ease your journey. There is a sign of a true royal.
You're given an audience, I take it?
Not on this occasion, no. Dame Kiri shakes her head, causing elaborate earrings to chime. His Majesty was awfully busy, especially on account of the prince and princesses. There's always a scandal with those three. That's just about the future of our alliance.
If sick troublemakers are our own, kids will be kids.
Well, they shouldn't be. Foolish notions and mischievity are for the common folk, not purple bloods. The singer smiles weakly, hums a sound that could be easily interpreted as dismissal or agreement. Anyway, His Majesty extended his deepest apologies, but still lodged me at the palace.
Where did you stay?
At the waterfront with Lady Luce. It was a short visit, but a pleasant one. Ah, the waterfront is just divine. I spent many happy hours strolling the gardens and the promenade. Lady Wrist clutches her breast and sighs a heavy sigh of longing, to which Dame Kiri smiles. Oh, same. I've worked on a composition there, but it's not quite ready yet.
We shan't ask of it, then.
The magistrate states, and the dame nods gratefully. Oh, thank you, Your Excellency. I hope to have it finished the next time I'll visit the capital. Perhaps we could have a private hearing of it then.
Oh, I shall hold you to it.
With the official business concluded and the new guests settled, the conversation devolves into a more casual affair. Jarl Yorick spins tales of his exploits, which reach as far back as his affirmative years. He's been gallivanting across the Broken Isles and the Shattered Coast as long as he can remember, always part of a mercenary band or squiring to some far-off lord. Lady Wrist, not willing to be outdone and dismissed as a well-mannered, well-behaved lady, ravels the gathered in the story from her rebellious teen years when she ran off with her mother's jewels. She travelled to a place called Fair Castle and snuck away in a merchant ship headed for Line's Reach, which apparently is across the sea in Euron. She managed to remain a stowaway for 2 days, for hunger forced her to reveal herself. Thankfully she had a tightly enough precious gems on her person to bribe the captain to take her across as a passenger instead of in chains. In the Goldmane land she had struck an acquaintance with the Whitemanes, a prominent leonine family, and apparently committed some unspeakable mischief with their youngest boy and heir. Sheesh. The farmer wasn't joking when he said rich seek adventures out of boredom. After a less than graceful stay, she was sent away packing by Lord Ranelagh Whitemane, who sent a personal guard ensuring she got safely delivered to her parents. What followed was something amounting to a prison sentence, where she was kept under lock and key by her mother until she secured her a match. Apparently Lord Rist, her intended and future husband, found her misadventure and moxie admirable, and they were the main reasons why he settled for her. Then it's the bard's turn to spin his tale, which he seems all too eager to do. He roamed the width and length of Averland, his nose for adventure as his compass, and the quill as a means to fund his travels. At first he wrote sonnets for a penny a charge, from bustling marketplaces to serene countrysides, but slowly his relentless writing won him fame and fortune. He claims mischief and adventure of those days were what truly filled his tales. Every encounter, every escapade became a verse in the grand tapestry of my life's work. Bravo, utterly beautiful. The mayor's wife claps enthusiastically and he bows with glee. What about you, Your Excellency? The cat suddenly turns his attention, peering inquisitively into our host. Are you destined for high offices from birth, or is your path here equally winding?
Oh, don't worry, I too spent my youth on its follies.
Do tell. Lady Rist purrs with curiosity. The old male shakes his head.
I'm afraid these tales do not belong solely to me.
That is how it usually goes.
Indeed, our disparity of rank demands my utter confidence.
Whatever do you mean? The elegant female blinks, and the Lord Mayor pipes in.
Tygon. He means Tygon.
He states plainly.
Two of them were a menace in their youth. Think the prince and princesses run amok? Where do you think they got that from?
Oh, now I must hear that. Lady Rist insists, leaning over the magistrate, who only bristles playfully.
Yeah, my lips are sealed.
I can leave if that's what you're worried about, Your Excellency. Lord Cain offers, not sure if it's a joke or if he really wants to leave the table. We were rather hostile towards him, but then again, it's not like he wasn't just asking for it.
Oh, not at all.
The magistrate shakes his head.
I prefer when His Majesty tells of our exploits. It reserves a proper form. Besides, he's a far better storyteller than I am.
With such an abrupt end to the shared topic, the conversation devolves yet again to localised small talk. I continue nibbling on various foods, looking at Ranelagh every now and then, discovering being engrossed in the various conversations taking place. It almost seems he'd love to join in, however his pride stops him from doing so, on account of his lacking in Tigeri language skills. Lord Mayor and Lord Graki are engrossed in some financial debate, with Keir insisting on the taxation reform in favour of the poor, while Lord Mayor being strongly against it. I find it both surprising and endearing seeing a wealthy banker advocating for the lowest of the citizenry. As much as I'd like to pitch in, my understanding of their affairs is so limited I decide to hold my tongue in case I'd make a fool of myself. Cain on our left is engaged with the magistrate's son, both discussing the security of the region, and they're all maids trying to wiggle out some more details regarding the intruders. Arathun gets very little, most likely on account of the cold and suspicious attitude of the remaining guests. Then is the musical trope and the remaining human party. Master Daglan discusses his latest melodies with the bard and his singer friend. The two felines, despite being themselves masters of the field, listen to the man with clear fascination. Such a stark contrast to what I've witnessed at the Wolven village, and I can see that Ranelagh notices it too. People of different races and different social standing are seated at one table, treat each other maybe not like literal equals, but as fellow kin deserving a modicum of respect. Everyone here has looked as if they have something valuable to contribute, regardless of their background.
What about you?
In that tone, Master Daglan shoots in our direction.
Was the music enjoyed in Caelan nowadays?
I look to Ranelagh with confusion. They don't feel equipped to answer that question. Music is music. I'm sure there are technical terms that differentiate between styles, but I'm no musician.
Upbeat. Happy and ours. We don't listen to foreign.
Yeah, so tribal then. The man concludes, facing the bar as if to gauge his opinion. I've encountered a tin and wolf once during my tour of Amiron.
Oh?
Was it the white female with the most exquisite of voices? Dame Kiri pitches in. She puts down her chalice. I remember she had this otherworldly ability to incorporate her actual howl into the lyrics. It was a surreal experience. Indeed, the very same. The cat nods his head in surprise and smiles. I was enchanted. Such a gentle and honourable creature.
Oh, you know she Tiernan.
She told me so when I asked about her tattoo on her cheek. An upturned crescent with a teardrop beneath it. I muttered through a frown of realization, and the bard nods again. Indeed. How uncanny. Have you met her as well? Ah, no, love. I'm afraid our friend refers to the mark of the weeping moon. She was banished. Banished? Oh, my. Dame Kiri places a gentle paw on her chest, looks to us with worry. What could she have possibly done to deserve such a fate?
I don't know.
Rannoch's expression falters as he forces the words out of his muzzle. I suggested she'd visit Stranded Bard, told her she'd make a name for herself here. But she refused, stating that even in death she'd not be found anywhere close to that accursed forest. Can you blame her when your own kin cast her out? The female mutters in a mix of sadness and contempt. At least she's happy in Amiron. There she's celebrated like one of their own.
What her name be?
Rannoch demands, making me think he intends to ask about who this she-wolf might be once we're back. I only said before the most weeping moons are murderers and thieves, but how many of such lowlifes end up being gentle and inspirational singers? Enid. The bard responds. It's clear the name tells Rannoch nothing.
Well, enough of that. Has everyone had their fill?
The magistrate asks, raising up to his feet, and the gatherers put down their cups and forks, looking at him with gentle nods.
Perfect. Let's come through the gardens and continue the jubilations in a more relaxed and open setting.
As if by a spell, everyone gets up. I even find myself standing to attention. This tiger commands respect and authority, with good reason. He's a gracious and generous host. It would simply be impolite to countermand him in any way. As we walk through the elaborate door and into the courtyard outside, I cannot contain a gasp of amazement. The gardens aren't big. They could even be called gardens to begin with. The scale pales in significance to how elaborate the scenery is. The courtyard is arranged neatly into 3 sections. Small hedged greeneries on the sides, a sunken open space in the middle. The alleyways are paved with very intricately laid brickwork, and the grounds are flanked by arcades holding various marble statues, all crowned with an overlooking gallery. I follow the remaining guests deeper into this enclosed outdoor space, marvel at the exquisite fountain with 2 jets disturbing the lily-laden water. At the back stands an imposing statue of a white tiger with a fierce growl on his muzzle. He holds his paw atop the globe in an almost possessive manner. Rannoch frowns at the sight. I decide to divert my gaze to different pavilions scattered around the garden, roofed with a beautiful blue cloth. Each such pavilion has 3 to 4 lounges, lit candelabras, and no tables filled with various dishes similar to those we just left behind. Portia hurries the staff to ensure everything's ready to receive our quite enlarged party. Tiger youths puff up pillows and restock foodstuffs and drink.
All right, everyone. It's time to relax and get informal.
Not too informal, I hope. The female teases. By this point, I wonder if she really doesn't mean it.
Now, please, break away from companions and mingle. Treat each seat as if it were hot. You come, enjoy the company, and move on to the next. This way, she'll all be friends by the night's end.
It might be easier for some than others. Lady Rish shoots a discreet glance to the royal mage. I look to Rannoch with worry. He's not going to have much of a time schmoozing with his broken Tigeri. But the wolf quickly banishes my frown through a confident smile and a quite surprising initiative. He pats the armour-cladded tiger and strikes a conversation with the Lord Commander. He's full of surprises, that's for sure. As I'm out to find the nearest bench to rest upon, I find myself face to face with the bard, who passes me a wine-filled chalice. It would seem, after all, the fate has a drink for us in store.
You're quite musical, sir, I'll give you that. I smiled at his rhyme, accepting his gift.
I'd be a poor bard if I weren't, my friend, but where are my manners?
He says as I wet my lips, fluttering his hat in front of me and bowing deeply.
Willem of Avon at your service.
Sam, no one in particular. I shrug, realising that's as accurate as I can get.
Everyone is from somewhere.
The bard insists, and I click my tongue.
Everyone keeps saying that. Perhaps with good reason.
Considering my memory spans only the last 3 weeks and my current residence is Tiernan, I suppose that's as good as it'll get.
Indeed, I knew you were someone of import. You're adamant of the contrary, yet here I meet you rubbing shoulders with Daguerre elites and foreign dignitaries.
It's just a series of mildly amusing and chance events that led me here, I assure you. I scoff awkwardly, dipping my lips back into the wine.
What is life if not just what you described? World is one big wild ride. Some chose to hop onto it, others would rather see it pass them by. A chance is only as good as those who are willing to take it.
On that I'll agree, though one has to be careful not to gamble his life away. I've taken quite a few chances lately. I mutter, cringing internally at the fact I even lost count.
That's where the trick lies, my friend. Come, let us sit and talk. I want to learn about you.
He takes a seat on the lounge I've been eyeing out. I want to scream inside. It's not that I don't like this bard, but as Rannoch said, they're a professional gossiper. I really don't need more notoriety than I can chew. I'm already choking on what I have.
I'd be much obliged if you tell me more about yourself. You are a curious fellow.
He takes a sip from the nearby chalice. Before I can fob him off with some awkward mumble, the beautifully dressed leopardess appears before us.
Oh dear, Willem, please don't abandon me. I feel lost without your guidance. Oh, I am sorry, dear.
He gets up to his feet and offers her a seat. The female politely refuses with a bop of her paw.
Allow me to introduce Master Sam of Tiernan. Master Sam is Dame Kiri of Altai Koram. In all honesty, it's just Dame Kiri. I haven't been to my homeland since I was 3. My life is Caelan.
She smiles awkwardly, but quickly her beautiful eyes return to me.
You say your name is Sam?
Yes, ma'am.
Curious. Are you named after one of your grandparents?
Grandparents? I blink in confusion.
Surely no parent will name their child after themselves. That'd be bad luck.
Very bad luck indeed. Willem nods in agreement. I'm not sure whom I was named after, nor what does it matter. I mumble awkwardly, not really sure why the conversation makes me uncomfortable.
It matters a lot,
Willem states sternly.
To name something is to claim authority over it. To know someone's name is to be able to call on them. It's a circular relationship between you, your namesakes, and the name giver. Names are powerful things, very much akin to spells.
Dame Kiri concurs, and I cringe at this assessment. Feeds into my growing discomfort with a name I seemingly remember. Is it truly mine, or was it given to me? If it was given, then by whom? Sam begins to sit badly with me as of late. I much prefer Rannoch's pet name.
Oh, in any case, I was hoping I could hear more about you,
he says, and then turns to face the female.
Ever since I met him, I couldn't get my mind off him. Oh? A tiny human with a wolf for a guardian, living in fabled Tiernan, and he speaks multiple languages, including Felinian. He's my obsession of late.
The bard sighs with an awe-stricken smile.
Understandingly so. His Daguerre is immaculate.
She agrees with a smile. I feel increasingly awkward being put on the spot like this. I really need to get out of this conversation, especially on the account of my multilingual skills.
Shall we dance, Master Sam?
The dance? I blink as Cain suddenly appears in my field of vision and extends his paw invitingly.
He looks discreetly towards the bard, clearly giving me a chance to escape him, but I'm reluctant to take his paw. At first I want to refuse. The bard might be nosy, but the tiger's been doing nothing but stir in the pot all evening. It's very much a hammer and the anvil situation, but as I'm about to decline, I notice something alluring. The mage feels almost aglow, with his ice-cold eyes emanating such beautiful light. In this short trance I actually take hold of his paw and get up. Is that even allowed? I utter breathlessly, still entranced by his gaze. Oh, what do you mean? It's just a dance. He shrugs and leads me towards the open space. Oh, well, I'm afraid I don't know the steps. I'll teach you. The tiger pulls me in closer, clearly not taking no for an answer. I cast an uncomfortable glance at Rannoch, still engrossed in conversation. What will he think? Oh, don't worry about your wolf. I promise you it's all quite proper. Caelan buzzes into a slow tempo, and only now I notice faint music coming from a three-man band. There's only 3 steps, like so. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. He demonstrates, shifting his feet between each count. Maybe it's not a smooth transition, but it doesn't take me long to master the steps enough to avoid bumping into his paws. Ah, very good. He nods in approval of me moving to the central courtyard. I've noticed the magistrate took Dame Kiri for a whirl, and Lady Riss paired herself with the mayor. One last couple, much less enthusiastic, is Lord Graki, who's been settled with the mayor's wife. I think the female had too much to drink. She's very agreeable and laughy. To think of it, she was mostly silent throughout the meal, simply taking one deep glass of wine after another. Oh, on the turns we passed by the magistrate and the dame, can't help but smile seeing the old tiger happy. He's a kind person, no doubt about that. Less generous people would struggle to fake such warmth. Master Sam. The mage's voice pulls me out of my thoughts. I'm sorry? I said you seem to be very taken by the magistrate, and so is he with you. It's almost as if he's reading my mind. Wait, can he do that? You're a doo-doo head. Nothing. Not even a blink. Guess I'm just imagining it. You seem to be very much against him. I respond, not in an accusatory way, but stern enough for him not to brush it off. Not against, per se. I'm just weary. I find that a smiling muzzle oftentimes hides a fool, or worse yet, incompetence. I wouldn't say that's exactly my experience. I find smiling muzzles much more comforting than snarling ones. Ah, yes, that I can believe. He chuckles, pulling us into a small whirl. I'm surprised my feet can keep up. But isn't there some form of primal honesty in a snarl? Teeth flashing in the open, the throaty growl resonating in that jagged maw, very little wiggle room for misinterpretation. While a smile can mean a friend eager to see us, or a villain lulling us into a false sense of security just before he strikes. No one snarls at a friend. Ha! I snort ungracefully at the tiger's dismay. What's so funny? You clearly never met my friend. I shake my head, thinking of Vull and rubbing off a small tear of amusement from the corner of my eye. No question about that. You seem to have plenty wherever you go. Myself, not so much. If I could make a suggestion, I think you could remedy that. Oh, what would you have in mind? A change of tactic, softer tone and general courtesy. Ha! The mage laughs heartily. Oh, I'm not here to be polite or courteous. I'm here to ask hard questions, fully aware I might get unpleasant answers. So that's your goal then, to stir the nest? I suppose. There's a saying where I come from, let sleeping dogs lie. A meaning? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, that's what I'm here to find out, if something's indeed broken. It reasserts, and I roll my eyes teasingly. Then let me rephrase it. If there's a guard dog about, let it sleep rather than stir it to alertness. If your mission's to audit this place, you have a far better chance without them at your throat. I suppose there's logic to what you're saying. The tiger concedes half-heartedly. With that, the dance comes to an end and the pairs reshuffle. Well, this was fun. Indeed. Oh, do you care for another? The tiger asks, but I shake my head. Oh, I'm afraid not. I don't want to test Rannoch's patience, even if so far he doesn't seem to show he minds. After all, we're still on some shaky ground. In my field of work, one must ration one's indiscretions. And what profession might that be? A companion and a diplomat. Wouldn't want to neglect my friend, nor come across as too eager to fraternize with the royal narg. I smirk at him teasingly. Despite my crude joke, he smirks right back. Shrewd. Then let me take the opportunity to apologize for my perhaps uncouth comment about your wolf. They weren't aimed at you, nor him, but rather to make a general point. I was only joking, Lord Caelan. I hope you know that. I harbour no ill sentiment towards you. I decide to establish what my real stance is, just in case he's pulling up a front. I should hope so. I haven't done anything to warrant it. Indeed. Thank you for the dance. I'm sorry for your lukewarm reception here. Oh, don't worry. I've been received much colder. He shakes his hands in dismissal. In my line of work, it's a given. But then as a frost mage, the cold never bothered me anyway. I'm glad to hear it. I'll speak to you later, I'm sure. I bow gently, decide to rejoin Rannoch, who just finished his talk with Arathan.
What was all that about?
The wolf bobs his head towards the departing mage. Just a friendly dance.
Seriously, first tannin on that smug tiger. Feels like you're doing it on purpose.
He says in a semi-serious tone. If you're jealous, serves you right. It's your turn, my dear, to leave me here anyway. Besides, if you want, we can dance together now.
I'm not in the mood.
He says in an unusually cold voice, and I frown. Are you seriously that petty?
It's not that.
Rannoch shakes his head.
I didn't like what the Tiger Chief's son had to say. Besides, all my instincts have gone haywire.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Something just doesn't feel right. I can't put my claw on it.
Relax. I think it's just you being out of your element. I shrug, bopping his shoulder. Try to enjoy the party.
I can't enjoy it when I speak like an imbecile. I don't take pleasure in making a mockery of myself or my people.
Was Arathan making fun of you?
No, but he's a soldier. He speaks my language where actions mean more than words. Those fine lords you entertain so well, I've little care nor patience for them.
Seriously, they're not that bad. Just try to relax and enjoy some music, food and drink. The vodka is quite nice, I propose, locating a small crystal bottle on one of the side tables.
It is. And something tells me not to dull my senses. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it in my very bones. I'm incredibly uneasy.
Very well, I shall sit right here and feel uneasy with you. I sigh, plopping down the lounge beside him, and the wolf smiles.
Well, I'd appreciate that.
But only if you have a drink with me. I reach for a set of glasses, and he nods in amusement.
Fair play.
He watches as I pour a hefty portion to each vessel, and takes hold of it once I'm done. We look to each other with a smile and clink the crystal together.
Sanche. Sanche.
Again, the spirit hits the back of my throat, and I enjoy how smooth it is. I can see Rannoch's on edge, his ears perked up in high alert and his nose twitching nervously from time to time. Last time I saw him this tense was during the hunt. I wish he'd relax. But I decide not to make light of his instincts. Instead of distracting him, I distract myself. I look for the Jarl and the youth accompanying him, and there I find them chatting now with Willem and the singer. Almost like a mirror image. A young boy with a towering bulky warrior at his side. He's quite good looking too. They both are. The boy, most likely in his last year of teens, is slender yet athletic. I suppose most would refer to the body type as swimmer's build. He makes me quite conscious of my lack of musculature, and a very revealing neckline, considering his tunic wasn't meant for a female. The not quite yet middle-aged man next to him makes my blood rush. He's handsome, no doubt about that. Despite his outward rugged appearance, the warrior has a kindness to him which he's not afraid to wear on his sleeve. He's draping his powerful arm around the boy, bringing him closer and drawing embarrassed blushes from the youth. wonder if that's how Rannoch and I come across. Bearing this in mind, I decided to be a little less obvious and restrain my fluster when out in public. It's almost like a cheap porno setup. Let me introduce Finn, my son. Wait, they're father and son? I blurt out to myself, spitting out some of the drink. Oh shit, I'm worried that I misconstrued that. Now that I think about it, they really didn't do anything romantic or sensual. I just took their interactions out of context. Just a protective and proud father embracing his son. Do I have daddy issues? How could I have those through an amnesia?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Why are you blushing?
I sink my face into the palm of my hands. I'm a complete perv. I thought they were banging.
Ha ha ha!
The wolf snorts loudly.
So you do spend most of your time imagining others copulating.
You're not helping.
Relax, it's an easy mistake. I thought the kid was his sex servant.
I raise up to look at the wolf with a horrified expression. What?
Shh, don't make a scene.
He grumbles, looking around with embarrassment. I don't care. After all, no one here will understand this anyway. How was that your first instinct? Is that a normal thing among wolves?
I mean, for some, I guess.
He shrugs uncomfortably. Is that where I'd end up being if we weren't dating?
I mean, isn't that what you are, though? You're still my attendant, you're very much sexual with me.
Okay, this conversation is over. I shake my head, drawing a taunting smirk from the warrior.
Yeah, you're the one perving on about a father and son. I'm just perving over my slender little boy servant.
Bad wolf. I point my finger at him. You're in the doghouse the rest of the night. I pout playfully, smacking my lips and wondering if another round is a good idea. That's when Rannoch pops my shoulder with a hushed voice.
The human puppet's coming our way.
Don't call him that, it makes me... Before I get to finish, he's already in front of me while Rannoch makes a dash for it. Uncomfortable. Hey there. The youth bows respectfully. It almost feels weird to be greeted in such a fashion by someone very much like me. He stands there, timid and nervously toying with his half-empty chalice. It's amazing to finally meet proper. And my name is Finn. Hi. My name is Sam, but friends call me Caelan. Oh, that's a tricky one. Which one should I be? He asked in an understandable confusion. I shrugged teasingly. I guess that depends on your aspirations. Caelan it is then. What did you mean by finally meet? I asked, deciding to pour myself a glass to put him at ease. Not much, I'm afraid. It's my first time outside the broken isle, so I'm very much soaking up everything like a sponge. That includes gossip. Town's abuzz with you and your wolf over there. He says, barely containing his own excitement, and I can't help but smile. Oh, you mean Rannoch? The Wolven Prince and his... He pauses, gauging my proper address, and I chuckle. Attendant. Attendant, of course. That must be quite a story. That depends on who's telling it. True. There's no lack of storytellers in this town. After all, we're in the famous Strandbard. The kid spreads his arms cheerfully and I nod. I saw you at the inn. Did you enjoy the performance? Oh, I did. That Felinio was magnificent, wasn't he? Better than the lion, I would say. I snort, remembering the poor performance, and Finn laughs. Yeah, and has tend to be mopey in these parts, piling over past glories when they owned it all, and us all. 1,000 years have passed, they haven't learned the hankering of the times have served them. It's not winning applause in Avalon. Where does it? Indeed. He muses playfully, but quickly becomes rather anxious, looking towards Rannoch with a worried gaze. I'm sorry this is going to be a bit forward, but is it true what they say? That depends on what they say. Were you captured and taken as a, No, I'm more a slave, despite how it looks and what others say. I release a slightly strained sigh. This running theme is never going to sit well with me. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to jump to conclusions. Again, it's all just so exciting. Finn's hasty explanation returns my previous humour. We both seem to be of the same age, yet you're hardly in the world. I'm being on a carefully guided tour. Truth be told, if any of us would be a slave, I'm the one fitting the bill. I gather that's your father. I bobbed my chalice towards the handsome warrior in the distance. Yes, he's my supposed captor and warden. But he's not all that bad. At least I'm at home and he's good at opening the doors, socially speaking. I guess Rannoch is also part of my novelty act. I shrug. Not sure why everyone finds me so exciting when there's plenty of others who are equally as interesting, if not more. What I've heard, you headed the capital to see the Sorcerer King. Indeed. Finn nods eagerly. That's certainly something. I'm almost envious of such an audience. Honestly, it all seems a bit much. I always thought my father was this boorish brute, but I have to admit I'm pretty surprised. Didn't expect him to be, well, this well-mannered, warm and celebrated. What do you mean? He's your father. Surely there's no surprises there. I haven't really seen him much. He's always out of the battlefront or visiting with distant Jarls. It's the first time I got to see him in nearly 12 years. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. This explains why I was so off about their interactions. It's very odd and hard to explain. One day you wake up to this strange man, everyone insists he's your father. Deep down you know it's him, but at the same time something feels off, almost if it's all but a dream. Oddly enough, I can relate to that on a certain level. Especially with recent events in mind. What was the reason for his sudden return? My 18th birthday, which he missed by 13 months. I'm old enough to be his legitimate heir, so he flaunts me in front of everyone so he can help me gather clout. And now I think Rannoch could relate to you as well. Finally I decide to wet my lips in some wine. I doubt it. Your wolf seems born to lead. I cannot thrust into this without much say in the matter. Yes, his father played a more active part in his upbringing, but he definitely shared that last sentiment with you. What about you? He throws quite intently, and I blink in surprise. I'm curious if I could relate to your circumstance even a tiny bit. A young human stuck with the savage wolves? Oh, please, give me anything. I'm down for a good story. Not if you heard so far as politics and battle feats, none of which are things I'm interested in or familiar with. First of all, they're not savage. I state firmly. They might seem a bit out of touch. That's because they're very proud of their heritage and aware of their dying culture. Something every human on this damn continent could very much appreciate. As if the world has moved on, we outstayed our welcome. What about you, though? How did any of this come about? I'm afraid I'll prove a bit of a disappointment. Some 3 weeks ago I was attacked, apparently, and left for dead. I lost all of my memories in Rannoch's care ever since. I'm simply repaying debt for saving my life. I stick to our official version of events, as for the time being, not even Rannoch is with me on the same page regarding this matter. Mighty curious indeed. How did you end up all the way down here? Oh, what do you mean? Well, you're one of us, surely. I mean, I am human, sure. I mean the Vanna. You're one of us. I met Freya before, and their accent is an immediate telltale. I can neither confirm nor deny that. As I said, I've lost my memory. Besides, this testimonial means very little, as so far that's what every creature I spoke to said. Might as well be a damned bunny or a wolf. Well, Finn, what have you got here? The gruff voice of a Jarl reaches my ears, just before his massive hand lands on my shoulder. Yeah, handsome looking lad, a bit jumpy. You're a lady killer, I'm sure. He winks, the utter embarrassment of his son. Father, this is Caelan. A famous wolfman boy. The handsome man laughs, patting his chest and then pointing to Finn. My name's Yorick. This flustered little pipsqueak's my son. You can believe such a thing. I've seen stranger things. Ha, good lad. Seem you don't need rescuing from your companion. He nods towards Rannoch. I shake my head in bemusement. And not in the slightest. Good. Why not bloody me axe this early in the trip? Assuming you could take him on, sir. I flash my brows and he raises his. Oh, is that a challenge, lad? Yeah, Wolf, would you come here for a moment? The Jarl calls out, causing Rannoch to stir in confusion. As he approaches, the man nods in approval. Nice, nice. Big fella with an even bigger sword. Those claws. You can do some serious damage. Rannoch, this is Jarl Yorick and his son, Finn. I explain, gesturing towards each party respectively. My lords, this is Rannoch, son of Varrock, an elf of Caelan. Arthur, can't say I've ever met one. Nice to make your acquaintance.
A good meeting.
My wolf extends his paw and they shake on it. Yeah, what a grip on that one. Bet he could rip you open like a water skin. Did you do battle yet, boy? I've heard wolves breed their pups early.
Yes.
Rannoch grimaces, and so do I. It's not a subject either of us is happy to revisit. Not Caelan, I see. Don't worry. Goes away with time. Ben should just go numb.
You battle?
My whole life is one major battle, lad. The Jarl laughs. Between squirting this one in Mother's loins, him popping out of them, and this month, wasn't much time away from fighting.
Who you fight?
Damn Dragonkin. If your kind wasn't glued to your sacred trees, you'd have been a great aid to the battlefront.
You fight in the blasted lands.
The wolf tilts his head. I can see by his ears standing to attention the topic piqued his curiosity. That'd be a bit of a stretch. The bulky male sighs, shaking his head. We've been pushed back from Erin over a decade ago. The damn war with the Wolven Horde pulled all the Targaryen forces in the continent. With them going, better hold on to what we have.
Ashen Spire. It's true?
I blink, not really sure what they're talking about. You heard of that? To be fair, I'm not surprised. The entire continent was abuzz. First dragon sighting in centuries.
You were there?
I must admit, I was lucky to be nowhere near that cursed place. The Jarl laughs again, this time his voice holding much reserved amusement. It was a massacre. 200 Targaryen Panthori knights roasted alive. Only one survived. Apparently the maniac blinded a dragon with its own scale. Wait, dragons are real? I find myself blurting out. The party gives me a rather condescending look. Of course they are. The Jarl pats my back. I nearly stumble a few paces. Dragonflights might have gone into hiding. They're still very much real. Sometimes you can see a lone drake scour the barren wastes of Urinor. Most engaged stragglers, very rarely enjoying real battle of fear. Ashen Spire was the exception. Why is that? We don't know. The man shrugs. Only one survivor, it's hard to find out. The Dragonkin and the Dragon Overlords consider it too important to allow its fall into mortal hands. After that fiasco, the vermin poured out of Dragonheart like locusts, pushing it back all the way to the coast. Now the wolf and walk included, Sorcerer King's attention returns to the real threat. Hopefully he can regain a foothold in the region once more. He smiles with confidence. Once again I realize there's yet another layer to what's currently at stake. But Rannoch's nature as a warrior drifts his attention to something much more personal.
Did you kill Dragon King?
Heh, only one. There's a few hundred dead in my lifetime. The Jarl laughs with deep pride.
How they be?
They bleed like everyone else. It's very hard to actually wound them. Scales you see like armour on their own. Real armour on top of that. Almost if you're trying to kill a rock. They're mighty strong too. Proper foe if ever I fought one. The man pumps up his chest, pulling on his belt, and I could swear I saw a twinkle of admiration in Rannoch's eyes. I was also quite surprised too, but he never thought humans were capable of any heroic prowess. I must admit, I'm quite stunned and amazed as well. That Jarl is a dish all of his own.
Fight to take back home is noble. Honour to you, human chief.
Ancient history, lad. The Jarl shakes his head. Home with the Broken Isles. Those that get hung up on the past miss on the present. If you don't live in the present, just like the dead, you have no future.
Agree much.
Rannoch nods eagerly, and the man pats my wolf on his back. Glad to hear it. He clinks his glass against Rannoch's. They both partake in a short toast. If you do not fight to reclaim your ancestral homeland, why do you risk your lives there? I pose an idle question, which catches the Jarl by surprise. We fight for Avalon. If not contained, the Dragon King would scour the entire continent, bent on eradicating all mortal life. We fight for our very survival. I don't understand. I furrow my brow in confusion. What is there to understand? Simply a continuation of our extermination that wrought the dragon's fall. Frame might have brought Arcane some time, and with it new allies, while the first sorcerer king might have killed the aspect of magic and turned the tide in our favour. But the accursed dragonflights and minions are still after eradicating all mortal life. Simply in hiding, somewhere out there, plotting our demise and their revenge. And you believe that? I asked, dumbfounded by the conversation. Believe it? I know it. Saw it with my own eyes. Why would the dragons want to destroy us? What do you mean? Surely now the story of our people, the fall of mankind, the breaking of the pantheons, Freya's last stand. The Jarl listened with a growing impatience, and I really don't know how to respond. I might have read a bit on the matter, but I can't even recall exactly what it was I read. Not even understood much of it at the time. Is that for amnesia, father? Feeling to seat in my defence with a slightly annoyed tone, I smiled to him in gratitude. Ah, well, that'd explain it, I suppose. We're at a party. Don't think history lessons are the best use of our time yet. I'm sorry, you're absolutely right, my lord. I'm usually one to advocate practical learning. Considering your build being skin and bones, I referred you to a library instead. You seem well suited for real-life adventures. Indeed. I smile awkwardly. Well, this has been fun, but I'm afraid I need to return to our roast. Finn? He looks to his boy, the blonde simply shakes his head. Join you a second. Finn waits for a moment for his father to leave, where he faces an apologetic smile. So, you met the war hero. That's pretty much what I've endured over the past 2 months. Doesn't seem that bad. A bit full of himself. Then again, from what he said, I can understand that. Comes with the territory. Yeah, I suppose. He grimaces weakly, looking back to Rannoch with a similar starstruck gaze as I eyeing out his father. It's nice to meet you, Alphinus? I laugh at the awkwardness of the proposed address and my wolf cringes. Just Rannoch. Rannoch, I'm sorry. Still getting accustomed to mannerism and pleasantries. I might not be a warrior, but at the very least I could not sabotage my father's diplomacy. I'll drink to that. I brought my glass towards the youth. Anyway, better rush off. My father keeps talking to people while nodding towards me. I'd rather not always telling everyone. He oftentimes gets carried away. It was nice meeting you, Finn. And surprisingly enough, I feel like we're kindred spirits, you and I. I'm glad you say that. I wish for us to be good friends. He smiles, giving a quick nod. Though I must say it's a bit odd you choose to reply exclusively in Vanna. Appreciate knowing I'm not still prepared in this great wide open on my own.
What was that all about? I was a bit left out.
Rannoch blurts out confused once the boy departs. They were speaking Targaryen to me, weren't they?
Yes.
He mutters with growing concern. I was speaking something else back at them.
Yes.
I have no fucking clue how this language thing works. I plant my face firmly into my palms. This whole ordeal will give me a headache.
Relax. We just need to be vigilant and keep apart when in company.
But...
the last thing we want is to spook anyone.
True. I can see through a reluctant sigh.
Well, I'll go find myself a privy. Been drinking this whole time and I need to take a whiz.
Come back soon, though. I feel like a fish out of water. I mumble pleadingly and the wolf laughs.
Huh, I've told you you're a poor liar. This is clearly your element.
He sneers before leaving to speak with one of the servants. I can see him being instructed into the building and sigh, focusing instead on the party in front of me. The evening is quite spectacular, with different torches and candles glimmering against the golden glass. Such a contrast set into that of the village. Don't want to be a snob, it almost has this high-class varnish to it. Then again, it'd be odd if it didn't, considering the company. I watch as when the servant steps the middle of the sunken floor, begins to demonstrate different tricks with fire, much to the applause of the gathered. He's a flame swallower, or chucker. He's juggling various burning balls and sticks, extinguishing them in his muzzle. The corner of the eye, I see the human youth engage in another forced exchange, constantly embraced and prodded by his proud father. This must be infuriating at a certain level. At least I couldn't cope. Was Rannoch paraded like that in front of the others? I sure hope not. My attention drifts to the wrist woman who simply looks Finn over, delivers some of her disapproving quips. It's effective enough to take the wind out of the boy's sails, so the party shifts over the tables. He's left slightly behind, defeated. Take a sip of my wine and decide to approach. You alright? Yeah. He responds, put on a brave face. It's got a similar scalding to yours from Lady Arist. Must have preserved proper forms and whatnots. This place is chock full with lords and ladies. I know, we're drowning in ability, as if there were sailor titles in the marketplace earlier today, and two of us the only ones who missed out on it. I chuckle. I rather enjoy his company, for either of us gets to say anything his father is really calling. Get in! Come in! The boy calls back and looks at me pitifully. Sorry, Deirdre calls. More schmoozy of me to butcher. Don't need to discourage you. She's just a bit of a stickler when it comes to protocol. I'll run along. Thanks. He bows and rushes back to his father. Before I know it, I can see Rannoch walking out of the oversized doors.
Those tigers are insane.
The wolf exhales while correcting his belt.
They have an entire room dedicated to indoor pissing. There's even an artificial stream running through the middle of it.
Sounds like a proper toilet to me.
Oh, la-di-da, my lord.
Oh, don't you start. As Lady Arist said, you don't owe me allegiance. It's the other way around, my alphiness. I genuflect teasingly, using Finn's failed address, and Rannoch looks towards the blonde.
Speaking of, what do you make of him?
If you wonder if I regained any memories, I'll have to disappoint you.
It's not that.
He shakes his head.
Although that's good to know, I just meant in general.
He's fine, I guess.
Well, he makes me uncomfortable.
What? I blink, looking at him in confusion. He simply shrugs.
He just does.
He states sternly, and I shrug. You and your quirky behaviour tonight. You think Finn's a threat? I need to reconsider how accurate your wolven senses are. In any case, I think I need to use the toilet myself. I let him stew, sending daggers to the poor kid while I approached a doe who was arranging flowers at a nearby table. A Portia, was it? Oh, goodness me, I'm sorry. She grasped her chest, gazed at me startled as the D would into the headlights. Is everything all right? Asked when her pause prolongs more than necessary. Oh yes, of course. The doe nods hastily as if snapped from the charm. I see she's discreetly wiping away a stray tear. My curious glance catches her attention. It's been a while since I've heard my mother tongue is all. You speak it beautifully. She chuckles in amusement and I blink. Oh. Finally dawns on me. I've likely just spoken Old Sylvan to her, which means... Are you from Tiernan? Yes, I was born in Gulderan in Belmont Grove. Amazing. I don't know much about other wolven tribes, but considering... Gulderan isn't a wolven tribe, she says more sternly. It's a name of an ancient land predating any wolf who later claimed that name. I'm sorry, I've misspoken. As I showed the apology, the anger and determination melt away from her muzzle. No, it is me who is sorry. I should not be quivering with guests. In any case, how can I help you, Master Sam? Oh, right. I was wondering if you could point me to the toilet. Of course. Down the corridor, through the main hall, underneath the stairs and on your left. She indicates with her hands. I'm half surprised to see them with only 4 fingers. The hooves, if you can call them that, are much more like oversized nails, and the hand itself looks very much dexterous, if not slightly bizarre. I nod to her courteously and simply follow the directions. Just like Rannoch described, the torrent is a marbled room with stone benches snug in the walls. There's also a channel running through the middle of the room, which reminds me of a self-flushing urinal. Indeed, those tigers lead a life on a completely different level to the wolven village. I relieve myself quickly and wash my hands in the basin complemented with scented oils. As I return to the gardens, I seem to arrive just in time for yet another announcement from our host.
Time for some refreshments. Bring out the ices.
The magistrate calls out, and the servants nod, disappearing behind the large doors leading to the banquet hall. Within moments they'll come out bearing large silver trays with crystal chalices, filled with what looks like reddish ice cream. I nearly jump up with excitement when I'm handed one, licking my lips at the sight of the glistening delicacy.
It's raspberry and lemon compote. I hope you'll enjoy.
Oh, dearest Excellency, you spoil us. This is pure ambrosia. I have to agree with Lady Wrist. The ice cream was divine. Very fruity and tangy, with little to no hint of cream. In fact, I'm sure it's actually frozen fruit pulp with just natural sweetness of raspberries, breaking up the zest of lemon. I've missed this. Are you able to make them in the summer?
Of course. When well stocked, our ice cream can last all year long.
Ah, such comfort. There's no such ice trade in the bay, and it rarely, if ever, snows. Can't you make ice with your ice magic? I throw an eye between a spoonful of delicious dessert. Ice magic? Did you hear that? Lady Wrist scoffs in mixed amusement and weariness. This is why the hidden art should be kept under lock and key. Irresponsible upstarts abusing arcane with little to no regard for consequence. I'm sorry if it caused concern with my question. I'm just unfamiliar with magic is all. I shrug, sucking at my spoon. A wheel in arcane is very taxing. Even the trick I've shown you requires quite the concentration. A slightest error could change the ice's properties. Meaning? Arcane poisoning. Lady Wrist states sternly. Only the lynx is mastered the art of creating edibles. That's mostly thanks to the uniqueness of their land. It's naturally saturated with arcane, thus their food reacts differently with spells. Like Arquine. The female looks at me surprised and quickly narrows her eyes in suspicion. I guess that bottle really was something. Quite. We avoid using any magic on our food for safety reasons. Even if you're absolutely sure you've done everything right, there's still a slight chance you didn't. What does the arcane poisoning do? I looked at Caelan, who frowns, scratching his cheek. That depends on the person's constitution. The strongest suffer side effects similar to a hangover and food poisoning. Others suffer delirium and episodes of madness, followed by an addiction to raw magic. Since it's poison, you effectively can't live with, nor without it. He shrugs, locking his gaze with the ground, and his voice lowers. And then the weakest. They suffer internal organ shutdown. Their body rots from within, causing immense agony. Eventually their skin turns black, peels off, and they spill like a burst water bag. Jesus. I cringe, looking with worry to Rannoch and think about the bottle of Arquine we shared. Even though they claim Lynx's products are safe, I'm not sure that knowing all that, we'd have decided to indulge. And seeing Rannoch's slightly horrified expression, wide eyes locked with the tiger, I think he's of the same mind. Perfect, just brighten the mood to no end. Lady Wrist scoffs, looking around. Someone do something to chase this morbidness away. A song perhaps, a Dame Kiri, we beg of you.
I won't deny you do us a great honour.
The honour is all mine, Your Excellency. Dear lady, the esteemed gathered. The female stands up and gracefully bows in each respective direction. Dear Willem, would you be so kind as to accompany me? I thought you never asked, madame. He bobs his hat and jumps out of his feet, grabbing his lute. The flickering candles glimmer against the lacquer of the instrument as the cat adjusts its strings. Once he's ready, he nods to her, and the female addresses the band. Do you know the tune of Loveful Ballad? The musician's not in agreement. She looks to us with a smile. Well then, I dedicate this song to love, lovers, and broken hearts. She takes a few steps back, a shimmering gown fluttering across the cobbled ground. She joins her hands at her waist. She looks to Willem, who strikes the first chord, dictating the tempo of the rest of the troupe. The melody they weave is joyful and energetic, brightening everyone's expressions. But the true joy can be felt when the exalted singer parted her lips. An angelic voice comes forth, vocalising emotions without uttering a single word. It conjures some deep longing I didn't realise I felt. She's chanting pure bliss and happiness, a true expression of what it means to be smitten. Her feline body follows the rhythm of the music, and she sways and whirls in a hypnotic way. I'm captivated, just as everyone else is by performance. I feel some deep emotion summoned from the depths of my psyche. Her voice makes me feel loved and reminds me what love is. Even Lady Wrist cannot pretend to be blasé anymore, discreetly wipes away a single stray tear from her cheek. Only Rannoch feigns disinterest, slowly picking at his food. I can see him sneaking longing glances in my direction every time her tune tugs at some hidden heartstring. It's a dazzling spectacle, her whirling dress shimmering with diamonds and brocades, scattering the light like a disco ball. And that voice, something about her makes one forget all worries, even just for a split second. I feel fortunate and privileged to be here. Tonight the magistrate deprived a stranded bard of yet another spectacular performance. I lose track of time watching Dame Kiri dance and sing, the bejewelled brocade of her gown sparkling in the firelight like 1,000 stars. I feel dizzy seeing her whirl, my thoughts getting more and more taken over by a siren-like song. That dizziness quickly becomes physical. I begin to wonder if it wasn't perhaps all the booze I drank. Everything feels so bright and sharp and vivid. Feels as if I have 20/20 sight. It burns my eyes. But that momentary discomfort is quickly banished by her voice. I'm again among the others enjoying the show. My thoughts become jumbled in utter admiration. It's another worldly experience, and once the song is over, we all give her a well-deserved standing ovation. Bravo! Outstanding! Beautiful! Utterly breathtaking! Lady Riss theatrically wipes away at another tear, gasping and smiling in an attempt to outdo others in her admiration.
My, you have beatified these halls with your voice, madam.
And you dance pretty too. Oh, thank you. But the credit also goes to dear Willem. His lute strung such a chord with my inner self, they had to let my spirit go free. Hey, you're too kind, my lady. Playing to your side was a true honour I shan't soon forget. The stories do your voice no justice. The female smiles softly, gives a humble bow to the bard, looking back to our host. Shall I sing another one, Your Excellency?
Well, perish the thought.
The tiger scoffs, but Lady Riss places the paw on his shoulder. Oh, please let her. Such a treat to have a private concerto.
I'll be a poor host if I abuse our guest's generosity, Lady Riss. If you wish her to perform, you can arrange your table at the bard. I assume that's where you'll be singing.
Yes, but the dame tilts her head apologetically. Only tomorrow. I'm merely stopping here on my way to Wintergrasp. What takes you so far up north? I'm headed to Link's Terror. Been invited to perform there at court. My, you really do get around. First the Sorcerer King, now the Lynxian Queen. Lady Riss says in an oddly dubious tone. It's hard to read anything she says as something else than disapproval. But I'm amazed. There's this interconnected world of travel and exchange of art and ideas. Rannoch's people are missing out on so much. Few ever could boast such privilege. I'm grateful for the opportunities fate has given me. I'm proud, I hope you should be. Your voice is a light-giving talent. Pride would be a folly. Gratitude is all I have. Is Your Excellency sure he wouldn't want to hear another song?
Oh, no, I'd much rather we enjoyed a relaxed conversation. A taste of your gifts was all that's needed. You three can continue. Master Willem, Dame Kiri, please rejoin our little party.
Oh, with pleasure, Your Excellency.
Incoming.
The wolf pops his head to the side of the garden, where Finn got up, free of his father, and walks now towards us.
We better split to avoid your linguistic hijinks.
True. I smile, watching the wolf takes his leave shortly before Finn arrives at my lounge. What did you make of the performance? She sang beautifully. Don't think she sounded like a cat in heat? Even a little bit. Finn grimaces, and I look at him with a taunting smirk. It's feigning boorishness your way of appearing cool. Cool? I was trying to do the opposite. Break the ice by being humorous. He replies anxiously, and I chuckle. That's what it means. You know what? Never mind. I laugh. I'm just messing with you. I shake my head, looking back to the gathered. The conversation seems to slowly die out. I hope the evening's coming to a close. Why is your wolf acting all distant all of a sudden? Finn bops his glass towards where Rannoch is seated, and I shrug. We're trying to draw too much attention to ourselves. That, or he's fuming. Whatever could have given him a cause? That you'd have to ask our dear friend Mage. I nod towards Cain, who's trying to get rid of the maid's giggling wife. She's awfully gropey. Him, he's quite handsome, isn't he? I mean, for a tiger. He is. I looked at the blonde kid with slight suspicion, decided to put him to the test. His eyes are quite captivating. Oh, I know. He wastes no time to agree. I tried to strike a conversation. My father immediately came to hog all the attention. Why do I have a feeling you're quite taken in by the beast folk? I smile under my breath. I think he might be gay. Aren't you? I spent my entire life inside my village. Never seen another kin before. I've seen him up close. Gosh. There's something about them that makes your heart go bum bara bum. I'll drink to that. I clink his chalice, pretty much certain I am right. We take a sip, before Finn draws my attention back to Rannoch. Are you close with your wolf? As close as friends can be. What's it like to be friends with a wolf, I mean? Same, but different. I weigh my words. No need to advertise things to the four winds. Often I have to remind myself these are beasts thrice my size, capable of ripping me to shreds. Not that he would, though, but it's a thought always at the back of your mind. Preykin mentality, they call it. Finn nods, fixing his gaze on Rannoch. I bet it's also exciting at times. Well, if you'd like to find out, I suggest you talk to him. You sure? He blinks, both startled and thrilled. I can't stop a devilish smirk from creeping onto my face. Oh yeah, he's quite friendly despite appearances. When you approach him, just boop his snout and say, "Hey there, Fluff." What? Trust me, it's an inside joke between us. He'll appreciate it. He won't bite my hand off now, will he? Yes, in a mixture of jest and real concern. He looks rather annoyed. With the magistrate's palace, you're quite safe here. Oh, okay, I'll give it a go. This ought to be good. I take a deep sip of wine, watching Finn stride right to my wolf. And boom goes the dynamite. The bop in the snout causes Rannoch to freeze, almost as if initiated a system reset. He throws his confused gaze to me. I can see his lips are silent. What the fuck? I shrug innocently and return to my drink with wild satisfaction. When Finn comes back sporting a very troubled expression, I barely stop myself from bursting out in laughter. Very crude, he told me I can shove my finger. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Sorry, I couldn't help it. I finally let out a chuckle. Both your expressions were priceless and you helped me get back at him. Well, not always bad. The boy shrugs with an odd smile. His snoot is quite cute. Now I get said booked a wolf and alpha. Only others can boast that. I see you're a glass half full type kind of guy. No other way to be. We'll get on nicely. Heh, so it seems.
Finn!
Until later. Beckoned by his father yet again, the boy reappears on the other side of the courtyard like a summoned Pokemon. Despite my early assumptions, the party continues. I simply sit there enjoying myself, listening to music and the lively conversation, gently dipping my lips into the Tigeri moonshine. All can say what he likes. This stuff is quite good. Barely any sting to it, yet it does have a bite. I gently smile at the jokes of the magistrate, yet struggle to keep my attention in check as my longing eyes drift back to Rannoch, who seems utterly lost in this setting. My wolf sits there, grumpy and resigned to his booze, rolling eyes and shaking his head every time someone tries to engage. Such a fussy boy. And a short respite from his schmoozing, Finn offers to refill my cup and I nod, despite it being still half full. Don't look like a spoiled sport to come across as too cautious in company. The relaxed and informal atmosphere is much to my liking. I do my best to reinforce it. Finn tells me of his upbringing, which in all honesty mirrors my first few days in the village, full of mischief and mishaps. His are a hardy people who value strength and prowess over anything else. Since his build is such as it is, he received little to no recognition amongst his peers. Confined to his home, he spent most days reading books and learning the past and present in faraway lands. I feel sorry for him, but as much as I want to engage in the conversation, I feel oddly distracted. My ears focus on everything else other than his voice. It takes almost all my willpower to filter in his words. My eyes seem to have a mind of their own as well. They keep wandering around the garden. Everything glows and shimmers, alluring me with some vague curiosities. Don't know what I'm even looking for. One such strained gaze, my eyes lock for a brief moment on a quick and bright glimmer. One of the musicians dropped his lute and reached for his cuff. As he lunges towards our table, my instincts kick in. As I finally see a dagger thrust in our direction, I slosh my Everclear towards the assailant, right through the candelabra. Swoosh, the booze ignites and scorches his face. Everyone looks in shock, the momentary conflagration. Then the knife shines once more as the musician recovers himself from initial shock. He pulls on the magistrate's hand, which rested casually across the table, and draws him in closer, readying for a strike.
What's the meaning of this? Unpoor me, you! Father!
Young Nat grabs his shimmering blade, droplets of his lifeblood spilling onto the floor as he keeps the knife from reaching his quarry. With one massive paw swing, he sends the assailant to the floor, gold and silver coins clinking against the cobbles. I jump startled as Rannoch throws over his table and sends it flying. First we're all confused, quickly realised what he was doing. Through a soft grunt, another assailant revealed himself, crushed by the weight of the piece of furniture. Light of mercy! What in the world? My wolf jumped into action. His heavy footsteps fall on the table and draw an audible groan from the attacker beneath as he rushes to grab the last musician. He holds him in custody as the magistrate's son approaches with purpose in his gaze and grabs the commoner by the throat. Good call, Wolf. Tell me, scum, who hired you? I don't know. I had no idea what those two had planned. My good sir, I'm from the music hall. I played regularly at the Stranded Bard. Honest on life's loving mercy, I work there. Check with the innkeep. I can see the corner of the eyes. Lady Wrist bends down to pick up a small coin from the ground. She looks at his curiosity, giving me a rather chilling glance. He speaks the truth. I butt in, drawing everyone's attention. I recognise him. He was accompanying our charming bard at the inn earlier today. Quite right. The barkeeper assured me he's his favourite string totter. I doubt a musician of his calibre would throw his life away in such a lowly fashion. And who are these two? The iron-clad tiger bops his head demandingly towards the incapacitated would-be assassins. I don't know. They're the ones who approached me about the job. I was recruited about a few hours ago.
Who ordered music?
The magistrate calls out, looking around the garden with anger.
Well, Portia, speak, damnwedge. Who's in charge of entertainment?
I don't know. The frail doe shrinks into his shoulders, distress clearly painted on her face. So it's all last minute, Your Excellency.
It's your damn job to know.
I was about to send a hellboy to the inn to hire someone. That's when those three showed up on my desk. I assumed someone else had arranged for it. She says in a wavering voice to the magistrate's growing ire.
For light's sakes, you're letting a group of strangers?
Well, they did come with a bard. I saw him performing 2 nights ago. He was summoned at your behest.
Foolish girl, your incompetence nearly cost my life.
The male shouts out in anger, a furious growl reverberating deep inside his throat.
Oh, that's enough.
Arathan steps in, holding his assailant in his paws.
Yourself argued this very night against too scrupulous vetting of our guests. He slipped through a very clever way. Been hard to prevent it.
The magistrate narrows his brows and his muzzle twists in a snarl as he pulls the murderous musician's collar.
I hope it's worth it, for you shall hang.
Mercy, my lord. The pitiful tiger comes around and begs through a shameless howl. It is his excellency you're addressing, not to me, a lord. Lady Wrist snaps, ever the stickler observing their proper form, even when facing hardened criminals. My excellency. The would-be murderer continues his wailing. I have wife and children, they won't survive without me.
Very well, they shall hang with you.
The magistrate sneers, looking at his surprised son with determination. No, I beg of you.
See it done, Arathan.
Your Excellency. I find myself stepping forward with the total surprise of the gathered. I know that having but survived an attempt on your life, the emotions run high. Perhaps justice should wait until they settle.
Try to come in at a dinner party. What else would you have me do?
He nearly growls on me, all previous kindness banished by this one act of treachery. Whatever you deem fit, as is your prerogative. I bow my head in display of submission deference, softening slightly the expression on his muzzle. Do as you must, but don't do it at an impulse.
Master Sam's right.
Arathan nods, drawing the attention of his dazed father.
With exact justice, there's no haste. You might have something of value other than coin.
The old male's brows furrow as he takes a moment to think. Finally releases a deep sigh and nods.
Refrain from judgment till morning. Keep that vermin under lock.
Yes, father. Arathan bows and takes the prisoner into the building.
And someone collect that blood money.
The magistrate points to the pile of gold and silver littering the floor.
Perhaps it will reveal something of use.
Again the wrist woman gives me a telling look and I feel quite unnerved. What did she find?
You, boy.
The magistrate's heavy paw lands on my shoulder and pulls me back to here and now.
May all the gods in the world keep you in their favour. You saved my life today.
I did nothing. It was your son who...
You wouldn't know the blade was coming had you not done your part.
The male shakes his head in protest, looking at me with a smile. It was spectacular. Here we talk and enjoy ourselves, when suddenly a knife glimmers in the night, then whoosh, a ball of fire. My word, what songs shall I sing? William jumps to my side, pulling at my arm. How would this an actual assassination attempt?
I'd appreciate, Bard, you hadn't celebrated my near death with such fervour.
Ah, but you're wrong, Your Excellency. The cat shakes his head teasingly and raising a chalice in a faint toast. Brushes with death are what's worth celebrating life the most. I told you, friend, that I'd sing about you yet. He elbows me with a wink, and I grimace slightly, unaccustomed to such attention and praise. A hero of Strandbad. He proclaims proudly to the gathered, who give me a round of applause.
Hear, hear, hero.
What? No. I try to shake my hands in protest. That's when the magistrate approaches.
A hero indeed.
What calamity have befall us city had you been incapacitated, my friend? Ograki's expression falters slightly as he utters those words. You've done all a service to that young man. Feels like nothing what I did. Feels like something anyone would do had they been in my shoes.
Here.
The magistrate says in a hushed tone, moving a decorative pin from his chest. It's a bejeweled harp surrounded by a golden wreath. He skews it to my dress and pats it in place.
Wear it with pride as a token of my gratitude.
Your Excellency.
It's but a trifle in the light of your service and the debt I owe you.
He says sternly and loud in a voice, for all to hear and the gathered nod in agreement. Then the magistrate nods, looks at me with an eager smile and extends his paw invitingly.
I'm glad you take into my service, lad, that you wish to stay here with me.
I can see Rannoch's eyes gleam with a renewed thought of leaving me in someone's care.
That'd be great. Perfect for Sam. Oh?
The magistrate raises his brow at the answer and shoots a quick glance to equally surprise me.
Back home, not safe. Nowhere to leave humans safe in Tiger Town, but he's safe here at Palace. Of course, he would have work and lodgings here, that I swear.
Thank you, Your Excellency, but Rannoch seems to forget I'm still in his debt. I bow respectfully and then give the wolf a less courteous look, signifying that I'm having none of it. A debt should always be repaid.
I can pay it for you. How much does this tribe demand?
The tiger shrugs, and again, before Rannoch can even answer, I butt in as politely as I can. I appreciate the gesture, Your Excellency, but I'm not cattle to be bought and sold. The debt is my own, and it is I who must bear it.
Oh, and scoff on such an offer, child.
I'm not scoffing. Had the situation been different, I would have taken you up on it. But Rannoch saved my life. That's an obligation I cannot shrug off that easily. Surely you can understand my sentiment better than most here.
Indeed.
A principled fellow, I admire that. Lord Graki bops his chalice towards me, and I bow in gratitude for the compliment.
So it seems the human will return with you, then? Yes, it does seem.
Rannoch shoots me an angered stare.
Very well, then. Since Yadai troubles you, let me remove your worries. I name Master Sam an honorary citizen of Strandbad. His life is now under my protection. You'll always have a place at my court, child. Should any harm come, you'll be as if it came to Tageron whole. I hope this makes the matters clear, Wolf, especially in the light of our recent history.
He gives Rannoch a cold stare, and my wolf nods.
It do, much clear.
Good. Now, if you excuse me, I shall retire to my chambers.
Glorious, if you'll take care of Lady Wrist.
Of course, you don't trouble yourself with anything, friend.
Good man.
He pats the mare on the shoulder and proceeds to leave.
Well, a porter escort the rest of you to your quarters. It has been one exciting night.
Indeed it has.
Will you be staying with us? The hour is quite late.
Seriously, Ambassador, do not worry. I'm just across the street. Ograki slips his hand beneath the magistrate's arm, allowing himself first sign of informality this evening. Listen to their failing conversation. You have some rest while I fetch a quill and paper.
Whatever for?
Don't worry about that, old friend. Just know this. Money can buy you anything, and I have exorbitant amount of it. We will find whoever's behind this. I don't need money to solve this mystery. Every instinct in my body tells me it's Vortigern, where I have no proof to support such a claim. Only Ograki will dig some up with the help of his deep pockets. That here, what a bloody shit show. I think that Sir Weasley couldn't thought he could take on a veteran. That tag is a fucking legend. The Jarl exhales, pointing the way Magister disappeared inside his palace. And suddenly we slipped into a foreign tongue. Lady Wrist smacks her lips in her staple disapproval, looks at the mayor as not so giggly wife. I think it's our call, dearies.
Of course.
The mayor nods, but his wife pulls his arm. Oh, wait, so that's it? I didn't understand the trick. What trick? What are you talking about? The one with the fire and the knife. Darling, we'll talk in the morning when you sober up. I'm honestly not in the mood right now. Lady Iris sighs, and the other female shakes her head in bemusement. No wonder, that trick was awful. Put everyone right out of it. Exasperated, the mayor nudges his wife towards the door and their party departs. Jarl Yorick, my colleague will take your party to your rooms. Portia gestures towards the servants and the humans assemble round him. Master William, Dame Kiri, if you follow Fernwood, she'll take you to yours. Thank you. The cat nods, patting Dame Kiri's arm as the female remains speechless, clutching at her breast. Can't blame her. Again, myself can barely believe what just happened. The others slowly disperse. I take this chance to speak to the still fuming wolf. I look to him equally annoyed and gently pull on his wrist. What was that about?
I was exploring an option which presented itself.
It wasn't yours to explore. I have defiantly, drawn an exasperated sigh from the wolf.
I knew you wouldn't even entertain the idea.
Because I thought we already agreed I'm coming back with you.
Yes, that's because we didn't have any real options. I thought you found your place here.
He points to the lush garden surrounding us.
You're enjoying yourself and these people.
These people are a nice bunch of strangers I've randomly met. It's not a substitute for home. I reiterate, causing him to give me a sterner look.
You think you'll have one with me?
Yes.
You'll be a walking target there.
He sneers, to which I shrug. At least I'll be at your side each night. I say softly, which catches him by surprise. I don't know any of these people. I like them, but I don't know them. I know you. I place a hand on his paw and squeeze ever so slightly. Considering my memory loss, I thought you understand how familiarity is important to me right now.
Aye.
He looks at me stumped and, avoid getting emotional, feigns annoyance.
Oh, fine.
I smile at his prideful theatrics. Try to ditch me again, I'll slap your ears for real. I mean it. I reiterate teasingly, he laughs it off. But as he notices Portia approach, he quickly straightens up. Lord Rannoch, Master Sam? Little Doe approaches with her hands joined at her waist. Would you please follow me? I'll show you your chambers.
No.
Lord Caelan steps as for able to depart. Would you leave us for a minute, dear? I'd like to have a short word with them. Of course. She bops respectfully and moves away, tending the other guests. Your eyes are aglow. Cain mutters, taking hold of my chin and turning my face gently. There's an aura of arcane about you, which explains why I was drawn to you so much. What? I blink and pull away in shock. I'd recognise arcane brilliance anywhere. I'm not a mage, I assure you. The tiger smiles and nods. I know you're not. There's magic coursing through your veins.
Saucer, King Wine.
Rannoch mutters, rubbing his head as if trying to banish a headache. You know what? That's right, we had a bottle of Arquine at the Stranded Bard.
Feel on edge all night.
The wolf continues, and I concur. Indeed, I seemed on high alert myself. Everything was so focused. Oh yeah, that would explain it. Oh, also explains your quick reflex and thinking. That bottle of wine may very well save Lord Magistrate's life. Feels even more improper to take credit for a beverage. I wouldn't say that. The arcane cannot enhance something that's not already there. What you did took courage still. You're full of surprises, Master Sam. And with that, he nods to Portia, approaches, and again offers to take us upstairs. Would you please follow me? Of course, we'd be much obliged. I nod and we follow him to the palace. It's awfully calm and quiet at such a late hour, and I feel eerie. Almost seems forbidden to wander these halls at night. Just in a moment. Another disruption stops us in our tracks as we're about to scale the steps. We look towards the banquet hall doors, seeing Lord Graki emerging from them. Oh, thank heavens you haven't gone through. Lord Graki, how can we be of service? Let's mean to pass this on to Lord Rannoch. He pulls out a scroll from underneath his tunic.
Me?
The letter to your father regarding his account with us. There are things he should be aware of and small matters settle. All should be self-explanatory once he reads it. The tiger pats the scroll as he passes it to my rather weary wolf. Oh, don't worry, no bad news here. Just a little dispute with the recipient back in Bengaron.
Bengaron? What recipient?
We have a branch there, my brother and I. As the recipient, I'm afraid I cannot discuss that with you. You don't even try to communicate through a second party, even though they are a blood relation. Well, we haven't heard from Varrock in over 3 years. Please enjoy to receive this letter. Any other questions you have, you'll have to address with him.
Of course, will do.
Rannoch nods and the tiger bows. It's a pleasure to meet you, Master Sam. Shall keep you in my thoughts, as you're the sort of fellow one should want at their side. I smiled, giving a discreet glance of satisfaction to Rannoch. With Orgraki gone, Portia can resume our escort. She lights the path through the marbled halls with a small lantern, statues of venerated tigers casting long shadows reaching the ceiling. Then she reaches a small staircase, climbing up several stories. Finally, at the end of yet another gallery, she comes to a stop. Here we are. Portia unlocks the doors and throws them ajar. If you need anything, put on the cord next to the door. It'll summon a servant. Thank you for everything. Not at all. It is I who thank you. Her voice slightly wavers, her eyes overflow with moisture. Had anything happened to the magistrate? She covers her lips and releases a quiet sob. I'm sorry. Hey, it's all right. I place a hand on his shoulder. It's a scary thing to witness. I'm glad His Excellency is safe. He's a good man. Perhaps not a paragon, but a good man. I think someone would want him dead. Shh, it's okay. I put her into my arms and allow her to rest against my chest. The girl takes a few moments to collect herself, but eventually pulls away. Thank you. I should go and tend to others. Good night, Portia. I wave her goodbye and look to the wolf who stands in the doorframe, arms crossed and worried gaze glued into the distance. Come, it's been a long evening. Bid him to follow me into our sleeping quarters. The room is quite spacious, a large canopy bed placed on a wooden rise. It's quite warm, the kind of already burning braziers, and their heat bids us in. I close the door behind us, still very much exploring this sumptuous chamber. The walls are covered in painted plaster, and one opposite the bed showcases a beautiful woven tapestry. It depicts a hunting party foraging into the woods on what looks like a village fair. Various kin seem to enjoy themselves with dance and drink, and the pleasant theme is so reminiscent of the life I've gone to sample here. You okay? I asked the wolf, seeing as he's poking the logs inside the fireplace. Come on now. I insist, teasing and he sighs. I'm fine, really. It's just been a crazy evening. It was. We got through it. I told you something felt off. You did. I should have listened. Not the first time. The wolf scoffs and I approach him. You're a wolf and I'm a human. Miscommunication is bound to happen. I'm just on edge. Everything going on back home is assassination attempts. The last thing we needed on our plate. Can we just forget about it for a moment and simply enjoy the setting? It's all quite beautiful. I trace my hand over the intricate floral pattern carved into the bed frame. This place is probably worth more than my entire tribe. Thoughts seem to trouble you. Is that why you've been so grumpy the whole evening? I mutter, gently embracing the wolf from behind. Just can't understand, how did this happen? How did my people fall so far behind? Sure it didn't change much since your visit those years ago. Of course not. He scoffs at me. I was a pup then. I didn't pay attention, nor had access to such company. Everyone here is worldly and well-travelled. My people seem to barely move at all, as if they're walking round in circles. That's pretty much what they're doing, I concede in a solemn voice. I won't be denying the obvious truth out of politeness. How can tigers afford all of this? I mean, this is just a provincial town, perhaps the capital of the region, but still nothing compared to their grander cities. He looks towards the window, embracing himself uncomfortably and allowing a few moments to collect his thoughts. I guess if you'd ask back home, you'd be told they stole the riches of others. But I can't see that. Neither can I. The magistrate seems a generous and open-minded male. He welcomes strangers at his table as they are his own kin. I think that's the main reason of the success, Rannoch. Look at the marketplace. The commerce is booming. Glass, perfume, cloths, items from every corner of the world readily available. Not just the rich, the middle class too. You don't even have a market, do you? We have shops in the village centre. That's not commerce, that's subsistence. Most stuff there is just for daily needs. Any commodity is made to order if you're deemed worthy enough of it. That's not a way for society to grow. It's stifling. The wolf groans, flopping back on the bed and resting his muzzle deep in his paws. If I wanted to talk this over with father, he dismissed me. Bertha is in charge of our tribe's economy. Any suggestion of change would immediately be seen as a suggestion of mismanagement. At this point, it's not even a suggestion. I think mismanagement should be self-evident. And now this. I don't know what to make of it. He waves a letter in front of me and I can see a clearly broken seal. He decided to read it. I say worriedly. Father has 4,000 talents stashed in Bengaron. It's over 200 pounds of gold sitting on the other side of the continent. Think it has anything to do with your mother? My mother was never a spendthrift. She was a simple female who wanted a simple life. That kind of money could support an entire tribe for a year or two. I fall silent, not really sure what to say to such a revelation. It did seem not only Vitha was pilfering the tribe's treasury. But what Varrock needs this kind of wealth eludes me. I'm so sorry. You must feel really left out.
I know he treated me like a pup. Never realised to what extent.
It's supposed to prove how wrong he was not to keep you in his confidence.
It'd be mighty hard with us returning together.
I smiled, hearing him say it outright. So you made up your mind?
Well, I did.
His green irises lock with me and he smiles softly.
You're right, as always. Nora is safe, and since we're both facing peril, I'd rather we did that together than apart.
My lips quiver in joy, my eyes gloss. I'm so happy to hear that.
You shouldn't. The road ahead will be rocky.
I've walked this far. As long as I've used my compass, I can go the distance.
Huh, that I can believe.
He snorts, taking a short pause in the conversation.
You're quite valiant tonight. I'd expect this level of vigilance from a wolf.
Honestly, I was just worried about you moping around. The musician just happened to be in my line of sight.
Still, you acted brilliantly. You're also right to be impressed with you. You might be physically weak, but you're incredibly clever. It made me so proud to see you disable an attack without putting yourself in direct danger.
Okay, stop before you make me blush. His determined expression wavers. I can see his eyes gloss.
I'm so glad nothing happened to you. If he harmed you in any way, I would have ripped him apart.
It's okay. The amateur got burnt. Literally. He chuckles, looking at me with a love-struck gaze. I give him a kiss and help him out from his gear. Seeing as a sizable tub in the far corner, I decide to indulge tonight yet again. After all, we're guests, and if saving the host's life does not excuse some pampering, I don't know what does. I'd like you to stop calling me Sam and start referring to me as Caelan, like you sometimes do. I gasp out, still lingering in the afterglow of our union.
Oh, what has brought that about?
The wolf turns his surprised muzzle to me and I smile. Becoming more and more convinced that my name is a figment of a false memory, come from a dark place deep inside my mind. Even if it is genuine with everything that happened, and considering Dame Kiri's and Willem's warning, very much seems like a bad luck charm. In any case, it no longer bears any relevance to who I am now. It feels foreign, almost malicious.
Malicious?
It's hard to explain. I shake my head. I'm simply getting settled with the sound of it as of late. Caelan, on the other hand, is endearing. It makes me feel yours and happy.
Are you sure about that?
More than anything. I smile, but the wolf remains unconvinced, looking up at the ceiling with a clear grimace on his muzzle.
But Caelan isn't a proper name for a wolf. Literally means tiny. Feels almost like pup naming you in a way.
I think I'm not a wolf then. I don't mind being pup named by you. It's actually flattering that you actually think I'm somewhat deserving of such a descriptor. I say teasing and he growls back. And for the rest of that, you'll have to read it yourself. There's quite a bit in there I simply can't do on YouTube. And the rest I would have to actually censor, which is why we had a black screen. I just wanted you to hear that bit about the name. And before I go, as always, I want to say thank you to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. Nootster on Ko-fi. And my top patrons are Andy Peng, Aaron Fox, Bastian, Bieker, Brian Hall, Gobers Visser, Dissonance, Exact, Grizz, Harvest Mouse Productions, Eda Corval, Evan King, Kartek, Matt Kenya, Mario Cervantes, Muhammad Azamel, Omar, Rafu, Spiderling, Smuto, Tiger Cub, Aaron Amaterasu, Vulpers Need Coffee, Addy Bear, and Koob. So thank you to everyone who supports the channel, and thanks to everyone who watches these videos. Coming up next is Moonfire Seeker Saga, and the following week we're back to Spectrum of Hybrids again, and we'll see what's up with Jagger there. So a few things to look forward to on the channel. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye for now.